Should you? Yes.
No.
Will you? Yes.
No.
I'm seeing.
Was it good?
Yeah, I'm seeing it on YouTube. I'm seeing me just staring
are?
at it. Yeah.
No, that's good. We're on Twitch. I don't
We're
know
on
if
Facebook.
that helps.
Welcome.
Hold on, that wasn't clean.
What wasn't clean?
He was where welcome wasn't. I thought. Are you starting the pod?
Welcome. What is this? A Friday was it good? What has happened? We'll tell you. We're bringing you the latest news in nerdy entertainment. I'm your host, Ravi, and I'm joined by my two brothers, Arjuna and Krishna. What do Nick Fury, Justice League, Amazon, Disney movies, PlayStation 5, Xbox, and the boys all have in common? We're going to talk about them. That's what. So let's dive right in. I didn't like your intro.
Efficient.
I didn't like your intro.
You read it awfully.
Yeah. Your intonation was off.
It really was.
Yeah.
I just wasn't feeling
You went
it.
will instead of well. I'll tell you.
Will? When did I say will?
You said will.
You said Will Wheaton.
Well, I'll tell you.
You didn't even
Really?
realize
Really?
it. but
Really?
you-
Really?
Willy.
You want me to do the intro? You want me to read it how it should have been read?
No, it's fine because
Okay.
I think people want us to actually get into what the hell we're talking about.
Probably
Yes.
not.
Plus the news.
By the way, Arjuna, your cable is running in front of you.
I like it that way.
Looks like you're wearing a seatbelt.
Good.
For those
Ooh.
listening,
I
I'm just-
want safety.
I'm just plugging our Twitch channel right now. We do this podcast live Monday and then another day of the week. You'll find out on Twitter at Was It Good when we're live, and then you can tune in on twitch.tv/wasitgood to watch us awkwardly stare at cameras and each other longingly.
Ew.
Just kidding. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, that's not.
Speaking of someone that wishes they could stare longingly but lost an eye due to the great carnage of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Nick Fury.
Yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson potentially, I guess, how do we say this? Variety is claiming there are a lot of rumors out there that Samuel L. Jackson is potentially being signed up to do a Disney Plus series around the character Nick Fury. Beyond that,
we know nothing.
we don't really know anything. We know that Nick Fury's attached to it. We don't know when it is. We
You
don't.
mean Samuel L. Jackson's attached to it?
What did I say?
Nick
Nick
Fury.
Fury.
Nick Fury is
There
a
you go.
fictional
No,
character.
nope. Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury,
Same person.
Mace Windu,
Yeah.
same person.
All the same person. Absolutely.
If I say one,
Yeah.
talking about all three.
Yeah. 100%.
Thank you.
I thought what was the most interesting thing about that article was it saying this is all assuming the show gets greenlit, which means it hasn't. It's not even. It's like less than a rumor. It's like an idea that they're throwing around in the writers' room.
No, it's in pre-production. They're getting ready to probably do a full pitch. It's likely going to be pitched unless it falls into development.
That's what I'm
hell
saying,
and
though.
all
It's
that
not
kind of
even.
stuff.
It hasn't even been
Yeah.
pitched. It's just
No,
an
no, no,
idea.
it's
a
been,
few
no,
writers
no,
that
no,
are
no,
throwing
it's
around.
been pitched. It's being waiting to be picked up.
Okay, so greenlit.
So right, exactly.
Yeah.
It's waiting for the official production order, which, by the way, is probably going to be delayed anyway because of COVID. So that's probably why it's not quote unquote official. And they probably also, I mean, if you're a company, you instead of greenlighting 20 shows,
Green lighting.
greenlighting. I'm just trying to be Ravi. If instead of greenlighting 20 shows,
You would be so lucky.
instead of greenlighting a whole bunch of shows like Warner Brothers did with their DC lineup before they even knew how their first few movies were going to do, which, spoiler alert, they did badly.
I don't know. I really like Justice League.
Oh, get the fuck out of here. You wanted to leave
I
that
think you're
theater.
lying.
No.
Can't tell.
Me?
Great actor.
But
Thank you.
what I'm saying is, instead of there's already 3 Disney Plus shows in production. There's another 3 or 4 in pre-production. No, I'm sorry. There's 4 shows in production. Right? There is WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, and What If are all in production or
What If
post-production. That's the show. It's called What If.
Yeah, but what if what?
What if Ravi had been born normal? But anyway, right, they already have 4 in production. Then there's pre-production on
She-Hulk.
She-Hulk,
Oh,
Miss Marvel,
Yep.
and Hawkeye.
these are all TV shows.
These are
Wait,
all the
wasn't
Disney Plus-
Hawkeye like? Is Hawkeye still happening? Because the whole Jeremy
Renner.
Yep.
Renner stuff.
You know why it's
like-
happening? Because no one's brought up any more of that info, so they're just waiting
Sweeped
for it
it
to
under
be
the
swept
park.
under the rug
Gotcha.
and continue it on. So those 3 are in pre-production. and then you'd have this now potential 4th series. Probably makes sense to see what the actual reception is on these Disney Plus shows, because guess what? They haven't done these before. They don't know how they're going to be well received. They could be horribly received, and then
Yeah.
they'll be like, we need to change our strategy, like has happened to many Disney properties. Star Wars spin-off movies, Marvel TV shows on ABC and Netflix. Like, instead of, you gotta wait and see.
Is it though? Is it like just putting things on the pipeline so that you can hit the ground running?
Yes, yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
being basically just
Absolutely.
pump them out, and you're like,
But
you're just good to go.
You also have to realize too, let's take The Mandalorian for example, right? You have a show like The Mandalorian, you're going to get interest in a whole bunch of different things, right? Obviously, this guy right here became a global phenomenon. Now,
Yes.
there was, you could guess and estimate, like, this cute and cuddly thing is going to be popular, but you don't know exactly how it's going to hit and respond. There's probably characters they introduced in The Mandalorian that, like, maybe we could spin this off, but it didn't resonate with audiences, right? And then there's other elements where, like, wow, this really resonated with an audience. Let's continue that, and that's going to inevitably happen with these shows, too. Like, they're trying to dive deep into the MCU, and there could be something in the Falcon and Winter Soldier where it's like, you know what? Let's spin off this into another Disney Plus show or focus it on this. Same thing with WandaVision, right? They have a whole bunch of MCU characters coming in. Maybe the Monica Rambeau character from Captain Marvel is going to be super popular in that, and they want to make a Disney Plus show with her, Or maybe she isn't.
Yeah, maybe she sucks.
And you figure on a streaming service, there's only so many quote-unquote slots. So many shows before you oversaturate and cannibalize the market.
Yeah, that's interesting. Does Samuel L. Jackson deserve his own show? Absolutely, like 100%. Has he actually ever done television?
So, according to the Variety article, he's never done a television show.
That's incredible. That's actually mind-blowing.
I mean, it makes sense. He's Samuel L. Jackson. Why would he belittle
Yeah, he
himself
doesn't
on TV?
Belittle? We're in the golden age of television.
No, I agree. I mean, but TV generally has always been looked at as the lower form of production, right? It's
Not
cheaper.
anymore.
It's cheaper. It's faster. It's longer hours.
Yeah.
Why would you do that when you could do a movie where you get paid more, you work less,
Yeah.
you make more money?
Absolutely. And he's also like he's played some of the most iconic characters ever on the big screen.
Yeah, Samuel. See, I did it again.
plays Samuel L. Jackson.
He plays Samuel L.
He plays
Jackson,
himself.
also known as Mace Windu with a purple lightsaber.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Snakes on a Plane, Unbreakable, Glass, Coach Carter. Oh,
Wow.
Coach Carter was a good one.
Coach Carter's great.
No, I'm changing it. So when I say Samuel L. Jackson, Coach Carter, Mace Windu, Nick Fury, I'm talking about the same person.
Okay.
Mr.
Yes,
Glass,
yes,
I don't think works.
Yes, sir. We treat each other like gentlemen.
It's going to be interesting, though. I mean, obviously with the COVID world and everything, Falcon Winter Soldier was supposed to already come out. WandaVision is supposedly still coming out in December. I'll believe it when I see it.
Yep.
So it's curious to see if these things actually happen. To Arjuna's point earlier, before we actually started the podcast, he was talking about the Friday media dump. I would argue that this is not necessarily news that they're just trying to cover up, but this is just, it feels like filler news, essentially.
Yeah.
Because,
absolutely.
like, you read the article, and it's like, yeah, there's not a whole lot of
It's
real
all
information in there.
speculation. It's all
Right, and, like,
rumors.
We can talk about what we think the show's going to be about, but it almost feels like, a few days ago there was, and we're going to talk about this later, Disney delayed a bunch of movies, right? So
Yeah.
they kind of hit you with the bad news. This feels like it's like, here's a little bit of good news to raise your spirits.
You raise
And like,
me
hey,
up.
we still have great stuff coming out, and like we're really into the MCU, even though we haven't had we haven't had a full MCU movie really since Avengers Endgame, right? Because like, yes, you had Spider-Man, but that's still a co-production with Sony. It's not like, the full
enchilada.
Disney, machine behind it. It's
Yeah.
kind of half the Disney machine. So it's been over a year, almost a year and a half since we had an MCU entry, which obviously didn't work out the way they wanted, but it actually probably helped. COVID has probably helped Disney and the MCU in more ways than they could imagine, at least from the fatigue wear out of it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of that, the last we saw of Nick Fury was in Spider-Man: Far From Home.
Yeah.
We knew he was aboard a Skrull ship, right? Skrull or Kree, the shapeshifters. at the end of Far From
They're
Home.
Skrull.
Skrulls.
Yeah, because the Kree had the blue guys.
That's right.
Ronin, right?
Right.
Ronin was
Ronin
Kree.
is a Kree, yeah.
Yeah.
So he was on board the Skrull ship. We knew that there was a Skrull impersonating him in Spider-Man Far From Home.
We actually don't know that's a Skrull ship. We just saw a bunch of other Skrull.
Yeah, but so
There
we're
are-
assuming.
We're assuming.
Yeah.
We're assuming it's a Skrull ship, but I forget who wrote the article that I was just messing around with. But it was like, if we could play off the idea that it's a prison ship or whatever, they could all be prisoners.
Oh, that's okay.
So we don't know that's a Skrull ship.
I would just say from the evidence we got, it looks like a Skrull ship from what we've seen previously. He doesn't seem to be in prison. He seems to be kind of relaxing and having fun. I would assume he's there under his own power and will. But we'll see. Maybe that's where the show picks off. Maybe, do we think the show is going to be in the MCU present? Do you think the show goes back? Nick Fury has really been absent from the MCU since Winter Soldier, right? He's really just popped up for little cameos in Age of Ultron. That brief tease in Infinity War, very brief tease in Endgame, and then his full appearance in Far From Home isn't actually Nick Fury, right? It's the Skrull. So he's really been missing for a lot of time.
Yeah.
Do we think maybe it's kind of the show is going to fill in those gaps, or do we think it's just no? This is Nick Fury in 2024, right? That's where the MCU present is, and like this is what he's up to now, and he's a spy and it's espionage. And
So what I personally hope happens is they make the Nick Fury series on Disney Plus similar to the Nick Fury Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. film, which is a 1998 film from
with,
Fox.
David Hasselhoff.
With David Hasselhoff.
Oh my God.
I would love that.
Is that a thing?
That's a real thing.
What the?
It's a real film. I remember seeing
David Hasselhoff played Nick Fury.
I just remember
in
seeing
a film
yeah,
from Fox.
from Fox.
What the fuck?
I remember seeing a clip of it where Hasselhoff is running through like clearly a studio set of a jungle, and he's just running through and like doing a Tarzan swing. I don't know why I remember that scene from it, but
That might be a project for us to do before this this epic show ever
If it ever comes.
If it ever comes.
let's be honest. I don't. My money's on that show showing up sometime in 2022.
Yeah, absolutely.
By
Well,
which point I will forget
if we're
everything
lucky.
You
about
had-
this
if we're
and
lucky.
all of it.
You have 8 other shows ahead of it in production. I mean,
Yeah.
now granted, like WandaVision was supposed to be like the 3rd or 4th show coming out for Disney Plus, and it's going to be the 1st. So things could change.
I
depending
wonder
on,
why.
Depending on how everything goes. I don't, if I had to put money on it, I doubt we see all 8 of those shows ever come to life.
Really?
Inevitably, I think 1 or 2 is going to get canceled, reshuffled, made into a movie, incorporated into another show, whatever. Because of the way production is, that there's so many shows.
Yeah.
I just don't know if it's all going to go out the way it is. Now, obviously some shows are doing better than others, right? They just announced the actress who's going to play She-Hulk, for example. So, you figure She-Hulk will probably show up at some point as they have an actress attached. Now, Miss Marvel, they don't have a casting yet for who's going to play Miss Marvel. So that might be further away. Or even Hawkeye, where you haven't had, Kate Bishop, who's going to be taking over the mantle from Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye, been announced yet. So those seem further away. They're less tangible.
Right. It's interesting. Does this shift to TV mean that we're going to see less Marvel movies or the same amount?
No, it just means that we're just going to have more Marvel content. I bet,
That sounds about right.
I would love to have seen our reaction to all this Marvel content in about a year
Yeah.
if things were normal.
Yeah.
If Black Widow came out when it was supposed to come out, when Falcon Winter Soldier was supposed to come out, when everything was on track, I'd be curious to see, in a year, as we're approaching, 2021 summer box office where there's all these effing movies, there are all these series, if we'd be like, oh, this is really cool and interesting, or if we'd be like,
Yeah,
cool, they're saving the world, woohoo, don't care.
I think the closest, I think we would have been fatigued because we already were fatigued after Endgame, right? I think that was the general consensus at this table, in terms of we hit Endgame. This was kind of the Endgame, and it's just kind of like cool. There's all these other things coming out, but is any of it really super interesting? Maybe. I think you even said, Christian, you're like, I don't know if I'm going to watch all this stuff. You're like, I
Right.
maybe might watch some of it, but I don't know if I'm going to.
Christian,
I still feel like that was the shows because there's so many.
Christian, it's a Thursday, or actually, it's a Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And let me paint the picture. So it's a Saturday. This is the day after you had some milk.
Okay.
and you just kind of want to veg out and just chill,
Hmm.
your options are WandaVision
Mm-hmm.
or rewatching The Office for the umpteenth time. What do you pick? Go. And why?
Probably WandaVision
Oh,
because I've seen The Office so many times.
And it's kind of trippy, right? WandaVision.
It,
looks a
I
little
mean,
trippy.
yeah, it could be.
But I would say that this compares to how I felt with like the CW Arrowverse. Like part of the reason I quit and stopped watching the shows
because we
too
made
much.
fun of you every week.
No, I don't care that you guys make fun of me. the thing that got to me was I got to the crisis of Infinity Earths, right?
Yes.
Which is what was teased from all these shows at the beginning. And then it happened. I was like, cool. I'm out. Like, I'm done. Like, I really don't care anymore. You know, I hit the thing that there was teased and I thought was interesting. And it came out. They combined it all into one universe. And they announced more spin-offs. And I was like, they're doing another Arrow show. They're doing a Superman show. And you're like, it's too much to keep up with. I don't care. And I'm done. And that's how I felt. And I feel like maybe that's how we would have felt with Marvel. It's like, there's too many things to keep track of. I don't care. I'm done.
Yeah.
What? Back to your original statement there. When they did not tease Crisis at the beginning,
It was teased at the very beginning of Flash.
the very beginning of Flash. So we're talking how many seasons of Arrow had you gone through?
One.
One, and
Because
then
when I started with Arrow,
yeah,
the Flash season 1 also had started. So I
Gotcha.
started with I watched the first season of Flash and the first season of Arrow like simultaneously.
yeah.
And so like I think I watched the Flash first. So the first thing I saw was this tease of Crisis, right? That Crisis is coming in 2024 and the Flash will disappear and blah blah blah. And so like, wow, this is really
Is the
cool.
Flash gone or is he still
No,
around?
it was stupid. Like, you know, it was whatever. The Arrow died. The Green Arrow died. But
So
that's what I
obviously our format's a little bit different this week because we're doing a second podcast, and typically the format of the show is we'll review a piece of television content or movie content, then we go around the table and ask that age-old question of was it good. Obviously, this show is more focused on news. Are we going to grade the news quality
Yes.
if it's good or not?
Yes.
I don't think we should.
I think the Nick Fury news was bad.
Okay.
all right, why?
Arjuna, was Nick Fury getting his own Disney Plus show news good?
You know,
Stop.
I think it's good for Samuel L. Jackson. It keeps the Samuel L. Jackson train rolling.
Are you
to
being
continue
serious right
An
now?
iconic
Yeah, we're doing
character.
it.
And
Oh, for
ultimately,
God. We're
it
not
is
doing this.
good.
We don't have
It
to do
is
it for
good,
everyone, but the
Krishna.
top news item for these Friday shows should definitely get a was it good.
It is good. Ravi, was Nick Fury the Marvel Disney Plus show news announcement? Not the show. Not the show. The news announcement. The way it was done, right? Did you like the quality of the articles, right? Was it was the
Okay, I'm going to
presentation
keep
the
moving
way
on
you
here.
want?
So, in other
You didn't
news,
answer the question.
Disney related, as we started at the top of the show or teased throughout the show that we feel like this was positive news that Disney dropped on us to kind of counteract the negative news that was dropped earlier in the week.
Yes.
The negative news being, well, let's go back a little bit. There was a film called Mulan, which is a live-action remake of the animated film. It, like many other films, was supposed to come out in theaters earlier this year. Disney decided to make the move and put it out digitally for $30. You could get it through a paywall via the Disney Plus service. A lot of folks thought that Black Widow was going to go the same path, least resistance. Thought it was going to go the same way, but it came out earlier this week that no, Black Widow's actually been officially pushed back now to, I believe, May 2021.
A full year after its initial release. It was due May 1st of 2020. Now I think it's due like May 5th or May 4th of 2021.
May 7th.
May 7th of 2021.
Yeah, it can't be May 4th.
May the 4th. be
Yeah,
with
that would be
Black
blasphemy,
Widow.
right? Yeah.
Maybe.
That would be, yeah. Why would that?
Yeah,
God,
that'd be-
I would be outside with a picket.
Yeah.
Okay.
It takes a lot for Abby to get out and be, an activist.
I'd be on Twitter, be like, meet me at Hollywood and Island. I'll be arranging.
Maybe in Temecula.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a great live stream we should do.
Yes.
But Black Widow, unfortunately, was not the only film, specifically in the Marvel area, that was delayed. We also, Eternals, which was a new group of heroes in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Camille Najani,
Angelina Jolie.
a whole bunch of other individuals. They've actually pushed that one now back to November 5th of 2021.
So that's a full year now too, I think.
Camille
that's
Camille
interesting.
actually went out on Twitter. I don't know if you guys saw this, and he said, "Eternals delayed to November 5th, 2021. Marvel made the right and responsible decision.
Ooh.
There's a pandemic. Nothing is more important than health and lives. I can't tell people to go to a movie theater until I feel safe going to one. Take care of yourselves, and I promise it'll be worth the wait."
Christopher Nolan.
I would love if a certain director, Christopher Nolan, maybe believed this or understood
took a
this.
similar route.
Fun
Root.
Christopher Nolan fact. I
He
think-
hasn't left his house in 7 months.
No, a week or two ago, he posted a photo of him and his wife at a movie theater
Aww.
with masks and like, we feel safe to go to a movie theater.
That's nice.
Today, no, I'm just joking.
Today.
Wow,
yes,
that took a dark turn. It's interesting. I'm talking about how do you say his name?
Kumail?
Kumail. He's been very vocal on Twitter.
About
Since
a lot of things.
Since the start of COVID, I've been really kind of paying attention and following to what he's been saying. He's obviously taken digs at our government, how things have been treated with everything. So it's kind of nice to see that he put this tweet out. Do I think this is 100% his own words? God, no. I'm sure there was some Marvel PR people behind this as well, but it's nice to see that they're coming together. Other films of note worth that were delayed: Shang-Chi, Marvel's first film with an Asian lead, has moved from May 7th of 2021, which is now the new release date of Black Widow, has moved to July 9th of 2021, so a 2-month delay there.
Is that a movie?
That is a movie.
Oh. I've really seen and heard very little about that one.
Shang-Chi?
Yeah.
It's-
Did you not look at D23 when it came out?
No.
You were busy with life? Got it.
I
Okay.
was at D23. You didn't even support me.
You were?
Wow.
When was
Thanks, Christian.
D23?
It was last year.
last summer.
Jesus.
Oh, wow. Oh, you know what? No, I remember that, but I mean, since then, I really haven't seen much around it.
Well, we did talk about Shang-Chi being the potential tease at the end of the first Avengers, which came out from a book from one of the producers.
Oh, that's right.
That was the last bit of news I think we got before this about the delay.
Yeah, I really have not seen too much around it, but that's cool. I'd look forward to it. What else?
Those are the main Marvel ones. In terms of other Disney films that have been pushed back,
West Side Story.
West Side Story, which is a musical, has been pushed back. One that I wasn't even aware of that's officially been pushed back, Bob's Burgers. As we know, Fox is now part of the Disney empire. And there's a Bob's Burgers film coming out, but now it's been pushed back to April of 2021.
Huh.
Cruella, which I believe is within the Disney princesses realm, is another one.
Cruella DeVille from 101 Dalmatians?
I believe so.
She's a villain. She's not a princess.
Sure.
She's a princess villain.
Oh.
It's part of their animated movie, animated to live actions.
Oh, God.
Within also the Fox area, also The King's Man, which I believe follows. Is that part of the Kingsman story?
It's a prequel.
It's a prequel. Yep. Yes. On once again plugging our Twitch here, twitch.tv/was it good. If you jump in, we get comments, we read them, we all have fun. I got a comment here from Sahara. Sahara, not Sarah. Wait, a Bob's Burger film. Yes, a Bob's Burger film is coming at some point. But going through this entire list, I also did not realize Paramount actually had this slated. Coming to America.
Yeah, that's the sequel.
The sequel.
you didn't know about Coming to America?
I remember reading about it,
Yeah.
but I don't think I ever processed it.
Wow.
Like I
hear
thought,
what
like,
you're
oh,
saying.
that would be cool.
Is Eddie Murphy reprising his role?
I'm not entirely sure on the details.
Yes, it's
Oh, thank God.
Eddie Murphy. Arsenio Hall's coming
Yes.
That's amazing.
back. It's gonna have Tracy Morgan. Wesley Snipes is coming back. James Earl Jones as his dad,
Oh, fuck
and he's
yeah.
like 100 years old at this point, is coming back.
James
it's
Earl
an amazing
Jones
cast.
should be like protected at all. Like, you know how there's a lot of people like Betty White needs to be protected.
Yeah.
I agree, but James Earl Jones,
Yeah.
he should be right there in terms of protection
Oh, 100%.
from disease, people, natural disasters,
I'm scared for him.
all of that.
He's 89.
Yeah,
He's gonna be 90 in January.
He's had a full good life.
I don't give a fuck. He stays around.
We need Darth Vader. God
No,
damn it!
I'm just saying. You know, it's fine. It's fine.
But of all of the films that I've listed, and some that I haven't listed, that are being delayed, the one film that sticks out the most, that really hurts, that makes me really upset for not being able to go to see it into a theater. It's not Dune. We still don't know what's happening with Dune right now. It's still slated for December, but chances are it's going to be pushed back. But the one film, it's a little film called Greenland. It's a disaster film starring none other than Gerard Butler.
Oh,
And that film's been pushed back. Of all fucking films, that one should be in theaters. We should force people to go see it.
Wait, why?
Because it proves how stupid we are as people, and we deserve what happens in that film.
It should come out in theaters, ironically.
Yes.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
It's making a statement.
Yeah.
Like a movie about a post-apocalyptic disaster.
Do you know what it's about, Greenland?
No.
So basically, the premise of the film, and I think this is fascinating, and I know for a fact I'm going to think about it well into my future. It's a film about the Earth. Yeah. And the last couple of hours before a meteor shower comes and basically wipes us all out.
Oh, cool! So it's
which
actually,
is fucking great.
It's an updated version of the novel On the Beach.
Oh.
So On the Beach is about humanity's last.
I think I read that
few
book.
months. Yeah. Last few months because there's a nuclear war. Yeah. Or nuclear bombs went off, and Australia's the last place on Earth before the radiation hits and kills everyone. And so it's like On the Beach is about like the last few months with like some inhabitants of Australia and what they do before they all die.
That's right.
Yeah,
I remember
pretty
reading that
depressing book. I didn't finish it because it was too depressing.
It's dark.
It reminds me also of a I've been recently rewatching the classic Twilight Zone episodes.
Good stuff.
And there's this one really cool episode where it follows this female character. She's in New York City, and the world's kind of slowly burning up because the Earth was knocked out of orbit and it's getting closer and closer to the sun. So as each day goes by, the Earth is just heating up, right? And water's evaporating. People are running out of, obviously, food to eat. It's just the end's coming. And towards the end of the episode, she basically passes out. But then it comes back to the real world, and, you know, she's having a fever because she's sick, right? And she's hallucinating and imagining this thing. And when she comes to, her neighbor finds her, and there's a doctor, and the doctor's like, yeah, well, here, take some medicine. Me and the family are going to try and get down to, like, the tropical zone or the tropical area. And it's because in the real world, the world has lost orbit still, but has moved further away from the sun, and it's getting colder, and everything's just freezing up. Which is just it's like it's one of those stories where it's like, yeah, the last bit. It
sounds like a milk trip.
Sounds like a cheap version of Wandering Earth.
Wandering Earth. A classic.
I'm still waiting for my Wandering Earth sequel.
Oh, it's coming.
It better.
Is it?
It better come.
I don't know.
I mean, if anyone, the rest of the world is getting back on track faster than we are. Let's just say that, and not go into the fact that Wandering Earth comes from China and they seem to have it under control. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway, that's the Disney news portion of everything. Let's move into the anti-Disney news of the show.
Warner Brothers?
Warner Brothers, or
WB.
Warner Bros, or WB, or Zack Snyder's fan club. Speaking of Zack Snyder, he made this really interesting film with Josh Whedon, Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot,
Jason
Momoa, a couple of small actors, nobody big that you may have ever heard of, and somehow they being the internet, I guess, convinced Warner Brothers to get what they're calling the Justice League Snyder Cut made, because there was a rumor that. Basically about halfway through the original cut and production of Justice League, Zack Snyder unfortunately had to step away, hand everything over to Josh Whedon, and then we got that fucking mess that made me want to leave the theater. And then
I'm still surprised you didn't walk out.
Me too, honestly, but I never leave a theater when there's good booze and popcorn to be had.
We had neither of those.
But somehow this Schneider cut, or what we in the biz call a director's cut, got greenlit. Is being made. We've seen early renditions where we see the great Menace Darkseid in there. We see some other interesting deleted scenes.
I mean, we got a trailer. We got a trailer.
We got
DC
a full-blown trailer of this thing, and then out of the blue, or what feels like the blue, we get a news announcement that the Zack Snyder cut got $70 million. $70 million to go and do 1 week of reshoots.
Mm-hmm. which just blends.
It's 'cause you had to
blends.
You had to pay each of those actors
Theory.
$10 million probably to come back.
Yeah, which just lends to the fact that there was barely a cut that existed.
Yes.
Barely. It was probably some scenes.
Yep.
And so Schneider jumped on this, was like, no, there's totally a cut. Totally a cut. You know, it's been shelved. It's pretty much a ready-made movie. All horseshit, which I think we all kind of foresaw anyway. But this is just like,
How much do we
this is
think-
absurd.
So this thing, when it's all said and done, it's
costs
it's final
A pretty penny.
it's final distribution. It's final this
$1 billion.
This is the product. It's going to be a 4-hour-long thing cut into, I believe, 4 episodes, released from what I read weekly
HBO
on the
Max.
HBO Max platform. It's going to be probably one of their big tentpole. This is why you need to go and buy HBO Max. They're going to do that depending on if they get what they want, which is a bunch of subscribers. We may actually see, depending on how the world exists, we may see this actually in theaters too, which will give them X amount of money. But my question for right now is, we know that this is costing $70 fucking million for a week of reshoots. We still don't know how much other money has been spent behind the scenes in terms of any post-production work, any VFX work, hell, even any voice acting work that's been needed. Like, who's playing Darkseid? Do we know who's voicing Darkseid?
Oscar Isaac.
No, I don't even know because they had the stand-in actor, but I don't know if he's voicing him or
Wait,
what.
was Darkseid in the other version?
No.
What's the other version about?
It was
What?
it
what
was one of
happened?
it was one of Darkseid's like horsemen.
I can't even remember. The
I
CGI
can't. Oh
monster.
God, no.
Like I remember Henry Cavill breaks bad. I remember that.
I remember CGI mustache.
CGI off mustache.
Real quick, while we're figuring out the name, in terms of budget, right? Justice League is tied for the 5th most expensive movie ever made at $300 million.
Behind what?
Which one?
Justice League,
Okay.
right? Already.
Steppenwolf, the main villain of the
Steppenwolf,
original Justice League cut, is Steppenwolf.
I gotta look at what this guy looks like.
It's
'cause I forget.
Steppenwolf, and Steppenwolf is basically like a lieutenant to Darkseid. His whole purpose and point in the movie was to come and open up the gateway so Darkseid's army could move forward.
Right.
How the fuck Darkseid is now showing up? Here's my theory, real quick.
It's the phone call between Steppenwolf and Darkseid. That's what Darkseid being in the movie is.
I swear to God, if that's the case,
Yeah.
I'm gonna fucking lose it and walk out my house.
What else would make sense?
Well, what my thinking is, like, we see everything up until the point where they stop Steppenwolf, and then all the heroes are like, "Yeah, we gotta be ready. We gotta be ready." So my guess is we'll get that in a condensed, like in the first episode, or maybe halfway through the second,
The first 2
and
episodes.
then the rest. If I had to guess, and if they're smart, and they have so much material, guys, you told us that there's so much material around a Darkseid and a Justice League. You don't have to rework this. You could literally go and watch the animated Justice League
What if
group
they
of movies.
what if they
It
cut
is
in
so fucking well written. There's a goddamn movie.
Yeah.
What if the Schneider cut was just it's the same Justice League movie for the first 2 episodes, right?
Yeah.
The 2 hours.
Which
Sure.
I have a feeling
and then,
is what it's gonna
and then
be.
the final 2 hours is just the animated movie.
I'd be okay. So, because here we're jumping all over the place with Justice League, but there was Dark Justice League, Apocalypse or whatever, the final one, and that movie wrapped up I don't know if you knew this. There is technically the animated
Yeah.
DC
universe.
and this wrapped it up, and it did it in like I've been reading DC Comics and reading synopsis and the anime stuff for a long, long time. They did something truly, truly unique.
Yeah.
They incorporated Flashpoint Paradox, the whole shebang. It ended beautifully.
I watched that actually. I watched that last movie with you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's a really good and interesting
They
film.
were dropping F-bombs.
Yeah.
There was more blood in that movie than I've seen in some.
And in the actual
rated R
live-action
movies.
Justice League movie.
Yeah.
No, I'm not even kidding.
I
dude.
know.
They're ripping some of these characters in half. I'm
Superman?
like, what the? But not Superman, but like.
No, he gets kryptonite injected.
I think
into him.
Batgirl
Nice.
gets ripped in half.
Yeah.
What?
Oh yeah.
ridiculous.
It's gory
It's
as fuck.
insane.
Does she come back or is she just
No,
dead?
she
well,
dead.
we're not ruining it for you. You gotta watch it.
The
whole thing.
So real quick, in terms of Justice League is tied as before these reshoots is tied for the 5th most expensive, just pure budget production at $300 million, tied with Pirates of the Caribbean: At World's End, which came out in 2007.
Wow.
With the $70 million, that would put it at second, $370 million budget. First is still Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. It's the most expensive movie ever made. In fact, Pirates, Avengers: Age of Ultron, Avengers: Endgame, Avengers: Infinity War. The first 4 movies are all Disney movies. Other interesting movies in this top 10. Tied for 7th is The Rise of Skywalker and Solo at $275 million.
Wow.
Which is why that movie, because it underperformed,
Yeah.
because it had such a high budget,
Yeah.
really killed the spin-off movies. The 2012 movie John Carter cost $264 million.
John Carter.
Yeah.
Carter!
And then at number 10 is Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, $263 million.
None of those are very surprising. I'm surprised Titanic's not up there, actually.
So to go back to the Justice League and what the 4 hours is, there was when they announced that they were filming Justice League years back, I think 2015, right? Like right when the first trailers for Batman v Superman started dropping. They were starting production up on Justice League. The initial idea or rumor was that they were shooting 2 Justice League movies back to back. There's a theory that they did that they shot the 2 movies back to back, at least the principal version. And then Schneider had to come off because of the unfortunate circumstances around his family. And then Joss Whedon, because Batman v Superman started to underperform severely, that's when Joss Whedon came in. They're like, oh, Batman v Superman's too dark. We'll bring in Josh. He'll make it like Avengers. He'll make it lighthearted. That's what people want. This is when Warner Brothers is starting to freak out and panic.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, we'll reshoot that. There's just one Justice League movie coming out, and it'll be great. And now we had the 2017 debacle about this Justice League, but now potentially is it where the first 2 hours of this thing is just going to be the same but essentially the same Justice League movie we saw with some alternate deleted scenes, and then maybe the other 2 is just the movie that was never released.
When is this thing supposed to
Summer
come out?
of 2021.
Wow.
So we have time
We
to
have
forget
time
about this.
To watch Justice League.
You know what's
Get
great
ready.
though? Because I was thinking, I was like, do I watch the OG
Yes.
Justice League
Yes.
and then this?
In fact, you don't
and,
have to-
hold on, and then this series
Yeah.
to figure out the difference. And then I was like, no, I don't have to. There are internet nerds out there. They'll do that for me, and then I can just read it in a synopsis.
No. We have to do our audience and ourselves justice, no pun intended. We have to go back and watch every DCEU movie in order.
Have fun with that. Friend of the
You're doing it with me.
podcast texted all of us a few weeks ago that he found the bootleg original theatrical cut copies of Star Wars, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
On Blu-ray. And is this Justice League movie going to become the unbeloved version of Star Wars, the original Star Wars trilogy, where there's 100 different versions of it, and it comes to a point where you don't know what the actual version is anymore? Like, is a Schneider cut going to come out, and then they're going to do like,
No.
then Josh Whedon's going to be like, well, now I want to do my Whedon.
Yeah,
cut.
I would say no because DC has so many other movies planned that they will distract from the main Justice League.
Also,
But this already is
also
distracting
Star
from
Wars.
everything
Star Wars
else.
was beloved, whereas Justice League is loathed.
Right, it'd be funny if they just
No, it wouldn't be funny.
like the Schneider cut comes out, right? It bombs. So then Warner Brothers doubles down on it, and it's like, okay,
What a waste of money.
now we're gonna bring back in Josh Whedon
No.
and have him restore his cut, but it's gonna be the Whedon cut.
The reason there's so many versions of Star Wars is because it was good, and every time they released a version, it made money.
Maybe
Whereas-
this will make money.
How? It's going to come out on HBO Max.
Yeah,
Well,
people
subscribers.
subscribes.
Yeah, but even so, it's like
and then any merchandise.
at some point you have to be like,
And
we're done with this shit. Let's go make something else.
Right. I mean, related to this is the actor who played Cyborg, Ray Fisher,
Yeah.
has been throwing a lot of
Very vocal.
criticisms at Warner Brothers, specifically Josh Whedon. It was a toxic environment. There was a whole investigation, and Warner Brothers claimed that he didn't cooperate. He showed the screenshot of his, him cooperating, sending the email, setting up the interview, and everything, really doubling down. He even revealed that the Ben Affleck news, when I was talking about that Friday news dump, they leaked it early because that was the day he released the allegations is when they leaked it, which was a few days before DC Fandom, to try and bury his story, essentially.
Yeah.
Because the Affleck thing, according to Ray Fisher, was supposed to be a big reveal at DC Fandom, where it's like, oh, here's our big last surprise. Ben Affleck's coming back as
Yeah.
Batman. which is interesting. Again, that's a giant corporation using the media to kind of spin the narrative that they want.
So what does this mean though for Ray Fisher?
Well, so it seems Zack Snyder is totally Team Ray Fisher, and is bringing him back for the reshoots. In terms of Cyborg, this was supposed to spawn a Cyborg movie that's been shelved indefinitely. I think barring the Schneider Cut being an absolute success and making $1 billion somehow and winning Oscars, like he's probably done as Cyborg, right?
It sucks.
And it sucks because Zack Snyder talked about the original vision of Justice League is Cyborg is kind of the protagonist. He's your point of view character. He's the kind of emotional heart of the movie. It's essentially his origin story, right?
Yeah.
He's kind of the main focus of it.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate. I've always been a big fan of Cyborg, going back to the animated Teen Titans show on Cartoon Network. And it seemed like this could have been a cool version, but this seems like it's going to be it for him.
Stupid politics.
Speaking, as we move right into the last bit of content, TV and movie content, The Boys is also now expanding their universe.
Is that another DC property?
No, this is an Amazon property.
That's
No, but the comic, though.
The comic itself is an original by
Is it Dark Horse?
By Gareth Ennis and Derek Robinson. And basically, The Boys, for those that don't know, it's a fun take on what happens when superheroes who are as popular as celebrities and influential as politicians and as revered as gods abuse their superpowers rather than use them for good. So Amazon just actually premiered and started their second season. They received record-breaking numbers, and because of this, Deadline is reported, and it was confirmed a little bit, or confirmed, I believe, yesterday at the time of the taping of this podcast, that The Boys spin-off series has been fast-tracked for their spin-off. Now, this spin-off has been in the works for a while. Basically, it's set in America's college system. Basically follows a bunch of young adult superheroes as they basically challenge themselves and try to get the best contracts in the best cities in the world.
It's like the top high school or college for superheroes, essentially. It's kind of like Riverdale meets The Boys.
Oh, God.
Well, they're saying part college show, part Hunger Games.
Riverdale.
Is that Riverdale?
I would assume it is. I'd have to ask people that watch it.
Yeah, sure, Tuna.
Yeah.
Don't hide.
Yep.
You guys have watched more Riverdale than I have.
I've seen 0 episodes.
Exactly. I've watched negative Riverdale.
This is interesting. I think it's kind of, I find this to be a little
Annoying?
not annoying. I'm just, I guess, concerned because I look at this. I look at the fact that there's a spinoff. There's also mention of a season 3. I'm just curious. Are we following the same path that
Yes.
another comic book turned television series, The Walking Dead, are they following a similar path? Because
Yes.
while The Boys is an interesting story, it's an interesting concept, I feel you can only go so far before it's like, okay, I get it. Their superheroes are as bad as each other. There's grotesque violence. And then there's that. Like, when is there going to be an end, I guess, to it?
There
Yes.
won't be.
You don't think so?
No, that like every other superhero property,
Yep.
with the exception of Watchmen so far, knock on wood, Watchmen, the HBO show, that is, every single superhero media is trying to make a franchise out of it.
Well,
Because people are still gobbling it up. They're still eating it up.
It's not even that.
They want more and more and more.
Well, and it's also you have to look at the companies and the networks and the platforms that these shows came out on, right? For AMC was a small premium cable network. And then they got this mega hit called The Walking Dead, where all of a sudden their usual highs were, they averaged 1 million maybe a night for a really good show. That was like their best show. Now all of a sudden with The Walking Dead, they got up to like 18 million a night. That's huge increase. So you understand why AMC made The Walking Dead an entire franchise because it became their platform, right?
Yeah.
They became The Walking Dead network.
Yeah.
I think Amazon Prime, while they've had some successes with some shows, The Boys seems to be their big hit. Their big hit with their streaming service. And
Yeah.
now I think they're doing what a lot of companies do. They double down and They're like, we are all in on The Boys. We're gonna make mugs. We're gonna make toasters. We're gonna make ponchos, and we're gonna make TV shows. They're probably gonna try and do original
Ponchos?
Yeah,
Arjuna?
it's all about the
Rain
ecosystem.
collecting?
Yeah, the brand,
I
right?
haven't seen a lot of boys ponchos.
They haven't been looking in the right places.
Apparently not.
But I wouldn't be surprised if we hear that they're gonna do an Amazon Prime boys movie, right?
Yeah.
Because Prime they do Prime original movies. Amazon has their own movie studio, Amazon Studios. They're gonna double down and triple down because it is successful, and they've had some comedies that have done well, and they've had some other shows that have done well. But this, the superhero and the comic book stuff naturally have the franchise potential, right? Because
Yeah.
you can spin it off, and you can do this, you can do that, and it's a very well treaded formula. It's very easy to manipulate and do.
What before we jump out of The Boys, and this is not entirely related to The Boys, but you guys obviously have watched the show. We are on, we're not caught up just yet on season 2. Based on all the terrible characters that you've seen, and let's be honest, none of the characters in that show are likable, and that's how they're meant to be. Who would you want to cosplay as if you could cosplay as any of those characters? Who would it be?
Yeah,
and why?
you got to pick. And the question is, who do you want to cosplay as? Is which character do you feel the least uncomfortable with that you'd want to dress up as them? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you know what? This character doesn't make me as uncomfortable as the other one, so that's
Gotcha.
who I'm going to go with.
Yeah.
Because there isn't really anyone you want to emulate.
It's true.
know what
Well,
I'm saying?
I don't know about that.
All right.
Like emulate as in be like.
I'll cosplay as Huey.
Huey? Who's Huey? David Quaid?
The Jack Quaid character. He's just the regular human whose life's turned upside down, and
Yeah. I want to be one of the random, like the bald guy, who's part of like the regular, not superheroes,
Yeah.
who's fighting against the superheroes. The bald guy.
I mean, being Homelander might be funny. He's
Who?
the worst.
Ravi.
He's the
I don't
Ravi would
think
have to
any
do
of us are clean. And he's very well put together. Like he clearly gets facials and
Yeah.
manicures, and none of us are that put together.
Don't you get those?
I mean, I wanted to be the butcher.
Billy Butcher.
Yeah. I can see that.
I'm the butcher.
That would be
Yeah.
funny.
I'm the butcher kid.
Nobody wants to be Starlight.
No. No. Starlight,
All right. I'll be the Deep.
Oh God, you're a very
What? Talk
confusing
about
character.
talk about an uncomfortable character.
yeah.
Yeah.
But if you look at the 7, right, outside of Starlight, who seems to be like the most, has the most best moral compass, the Deep actually isn't as bad as the rest of them.
I mean, besides the
He-
Me Too stuff.
I mean, he is pretty.
But
bad.
everybody, well, they've all done the Me Too stuff, right? That's
Have
the
they?
thing. Yeah, that they've all done really bad. They've all done really horrible things.
Really bad sexual things.
Yeah, but that is
Have
his.
they?
Yes.
What about the fast guy? What was his? I know he's killed someone obviously by running too fast next to them. But who did he assault?
I think
He's
assaulted other people. Like
he drugged his girlfriend and
Yeah.
killed her.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So-
I see that the show honestly is not that memorable to me, so I have a hard time remembering things.
Well, I mean, season 2 is getting
rave
great,
reviews.
great reviews.
Yeah.
They say
People love it.
people loved it. We will be doing a Was It Good on the entirety of season 2 in the next few weeks once the show is done.
What
Once
the
the season
fucking
is.
do?
Would you calm down?
I'm looking forward to it so much.
Oh boy. Speaking of things that people wanted to look forward to, but then were
Great
unfortunately
Disappointed.
disappointed by. We are entering what some consider to be the last great hurdle of the console wars.
As we know them.
The
As
last
we know.
great
Hurdle.
era
Sure.
of consoles, right?
Yeah, basically.
Or at least that's what's been theorized.
And what we mean by that is, as you know, unless you've kind of lived under a rock, which most of us have been for safety reasons, a PlayStation 5 and an X. I don't even know what is the Xbox at this point. The Xbox Series X, the Xbox
No.
Series
I honestly
O.
don't know what it's
It's-
called.
it's
That's why I just put Xbox.
No, it's Xbox 2.
It's not called that.
Are you sure?
Xbox 2, save New York. Anyway, the next generation Xbox and the PlayStation 5 have been announced, and then more recently, pre-orders opened up. The first one to open up for pre-orders was PS5, PlayStation 5. They decided to do what I believe is the biggest dickhead move, and I don't know. I can't confirm, and I haven't. Nobody has confirmed it anywhere on the internet that I've seen, where it was either PlayStation or if it was the retailers that fucked it up. basically, long and the short of it was PlayStation announced, hey, on such and such date, I believe it was last Tuesday or Wednesday, you're going to be able to get all of your pre-orders in on all of these retail sites. And then I believe a couple retailers said, you know what? We love our customers. You don't have to wait. Come pre-order now. And they did it at like a rando time, like 6:19 p.m. Pacific time.
619.
For whatever reason. So they did that, and then other retailers followed, being like, well,
Oh,
I don't want to
shit.
lose out on the early rush. And then what ended up happening was you had timeouts on websites, orders that were placed but were canceled. You had some people that were going to wake up on the supposedly release day and then try and get it in, and it was just a gigantic, ugly, disgusting mess. Arjuna, you actually went out and attempted to get one. Were you successful? Which retailer was your choice?
Go ahead, throw him under the bus, Juno.
I
Don't hold
actually
back.
was successful.
What?
And I got a pre-order through Best Buy.
What did you pre-order besides the actual console, and which version of the console?
I got the disc version.
Whoa, why?
Of course you did.
Because I like the disc.
What's the point of having a fucking disc?
I have a ton of Blu-rays.
Arjuna's
I
a
need to play them.
hoarder.
I'm not a hoarder.
He needs.
You still have a
things.
PlayStation.
PlayStation 4, yeah.
And how many of those Blu-rays? I don't know. Can people see that? Here, over here. No. Go back to your shot. Right over here, behind Christian Duck. Look, all of this stuff over here. That's most. I like 95% Arjuna's
All
Blu-rays.
Arjuna's.
and
That's
stuff.
all mine. That's all mine.
How many of those things are there digital versions for?
All of them.
Probably all of them.
Why you don't need a physical?
Because
media.
if the Wi-Fi connection is bad, I can pop in the version and not
How
have a buffering
often has
issue.
Wi-Fi been bad?
In this place, a lot.
That's
How
not true
often do
at
you play
all.
video games to justify it? Not enough.
I don't
Yeah, Juno, you play GTA.
So,
95% of the time.
Why?
you
I also play
are-
Assassin's Creed.
Hold on.
Sometimes.
What? Okay, so you got the disc version. That makes no sense.
Okay.
What game did you get with it?
I haven't pre-ordered. I didn't get to pre-order a game yet.
Okay.
So you're gonna get a system with no PS5.
No,
Hold on. Not done.
Wait,
Not done my
hold on,
question.
hold on. Target does have some pre-orders for games that I was going to probably pre-order pretty soon.
What did you get? Any accessories? Camera, controller, headset?
Not yet. I think I'm going to wait on some of the accessories because I just need a controller. I don't need like the headset and the camera just yet, I think, to start.
Mhm.
Especially because I'm not like a huge online gamer. So I don't think I need them immediately.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
So
So your experience was smooth. Smooth.
No, it was not because when I initially tried it, like when everyone freaked out, I think Ravi sent the text out. He's like, pre-orders just started opening. Like I tried it at I tried because GameStop had like bundles, right? They had the bundles with some games and stuff. I'm like, oh, this is a great catch-all to get everything you want. And like, you got into the cart and then you're like able to put in your credit card info and you're like, all right, hit order, and it's like spinning for like 10 minutes and it's like, we're having issues. So I was like, oh, I hate this. And then later, I think it was later that night, is when the Best Buy link kind of came up. And a friend of the podcast, Aaron Harris, texted us and was like, hey, the Best Buy's open. And I saw that link and I clicked it really quickly and I got it. So
There you
lucked
go.
out.
So Juno will have a PlayStation 5. I was going to order one, and then I remembered something. We live together. Why the fuck do I need my own?
Yeah.
So instead, I took that money and I actually decided to pre-order the Oculus 2 VR headset, which, by the way, very smooth transaction. Went into Amazon, hit the little pre-order button, boom, 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 done. That's coming out, I believe, in 2 weeks. I get it.
Oh, wow.
Which is fun. So
Yeah.
we'll have a early review of that at some point. But then, obviously, Xbox.
It's called Series X.
Series
I
X.
checked. I double checked it. The confusing part is they had the Xbox One, and then they had the Xbox One Series X, and now they have just the Xbox Series X.
Oh
And
my
I've
God.
seen a bunch of jokes pop up when the pre-order stuff happened, and I feel for the parents because it's going to be the parents that will go to the Best Buys, to the Walmarts, to the stores, and will say, "Hey, I want the Xbox One S," right? Which is not the Xbox Series S, which is the new one, and then we're going to see a lot of kids, probably jerk children screaming and being.
You're gonna get all those viral videos of like children opening up their Christmas gifts and they're like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah,
And
exactly.
then like freaking out and then like destroying the whole like everything. And
Are you going to get the new Spider-Man game?
the Miles Morales?
Yes.
I mean,
You mean the DLC?
I haven't played the original. But yes, probably. Cause
Yeah,
I
you
was
might
like-
as
I was
well.
looking at like the PS5 day ones,
Yeah.
and
There's
aren't
nothing.
a ton that I love.
There's the new Madden you could get if you have it on the PS4. You get a
Man,
free upgrade. I believe.
Madden hasn't been good since ever.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. The last good year was 2006, maybe 2008.
I-
And that was the last time.
Christian, it wasn't even good then. It was an okay game.
What about
No,
NBA?
it was a great
what about
game.
NBA 2K?
It was a great game.
Did you play 2K?
I played I played one version of 2K when then Boston Celtic Kyrie Irving was the cover athlete. Christian actually convinced me to get it. He said, "Yeah, we'll play
That's
online together."
right.
And then I got the game. I'm like, "Hey, Christian!" This is when Christian and I lived together. I'm like, "Hey, Christian, you want to play?" He's like, "No, I'm good."
Hey, that's like when he got Division 2, and he's like, "You should get Division. It's a really good game." And then we played it online once.
It's like that time I
And-
made you guys get Diablo 3. And we actually played on that like maybe 6 times.
I'd be
Online.
fine playing Diablo 3 again. That's actually a somewhat fun game.
So Diablo 3 right now.
Diablo. Actually, Diablo 4.
Oh, that looks interesting.
That on the next gen console,
Yeah.
that game will be fucking fantastic.
I'm just
So
saying.
I was going to go and pre-order the PlayStation 5, like regardless of the fact, Arjun, that you're getting one. I was going to get one for myself, but then I started looking at what's still to come on the PS4, and then I was looking at what's coming on the PS5, and it just didn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Well, I mean, you can play. The nice thing is it is backwards compatible with PlayStation 4 games, right? So
Sure,
I haven't finished Assassin's Creed.
that's the new one, the Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
That's probably the only game I actually might get day one. Even though I haven't finished the last Assassin's Creed
Rogue One Squadrons.
yet,
Squadron.
but I could still play that. I could still transfer the save file and play the PlayStation 4 version on my PS5, and it'll run better. Another reason it makes probably more sense for me to get a PS5 than it does for you two. My PS4 is actually older than yours, both of yours, because I got one pretty early on. Like I know you have a Pro,
Yep.
and I know you got yours later than I did.
Sure.
So, but mine's pretty old, and it's definitely like chugging along at this point. It's running out of space. It's X amount of years old. I think it's like 6 or 7 years old. So it's like it's time to upgrade. And I don't want to make the mistake that I did with the Switch, where I was like, you know what, I'm gonna wait for the next version, and then it never comes out. And now it's just too late. Like if I got it today, if I got a Nintendo Switch today, my luck would be the new Nintendo Switch would be announced. And
That
it'd be a
makes
waste.
sense.
It'd be a waste.
That
So
does
like
make sense.
I'm just stuck in a place for Nintendo where I just gotta wait until an upgraded Switch is announced or like the Switch 2 is announced because I waited too long. Because that's how it is with Apple products, right? If you wait 6 months to buy a phone,
Oh
right,
God, don't bother.
it don't bother, right? Because then then the new version comes out and your phone is outdated all of a sudden. So it's just like, how do you win?
Yeah, you can't with technology.
You just bite the bullet.
And to wrap us up here, speaking on technology, another little company, you might have heard of them, Amazon, announced a whole slew of Amazon products, mostly Alexa enabled. The one product or a couple products that stuck out was their new video game streaming service. I think the big thing that we're seeing, and PlayStation, Xbox have been doing this for a while, where you pay monthly for the online subscription, you get X amount of free games there as well. Microsoft is really kicking up with their Xbox Game Pass, where you get hundreds of games for free. You also get access to Xbox and Microsoft's cloud system, so you can play them on your phone, which is crazy. There's a video going around where somebody's actually testing the Game Pass, and they're playing Halo 2 or 3, the remastered version, on their iPhone, which is crazy. They've got a controller set up, but they're playing full-blown Halo on their iPhone because of this Game Pass. Amazon announced their similar subscription type product where it's channel based or like cable based, where you can pay X amount, to, like $6 I think it is, for a certain publisher and get access to their entire library. So I think the next big streaming thing that we're about to see is the streaming video game services really coming to light. And as new technologies like 5G appear, the cost and the need for the hardware disappears, and then just the network connectivity is what you're paying for to get that content. That's where we're going, and that's why, like you were saying, Christian, this is probably the last time we're going to see big hardware for the general consumer. I don't think we're going to see a PlayStation 6 per se, or we won't see a big device like a PlayStation 6.
Well, I mean, if Sony gets bought by Apple, you just buy the
Apple TV.
Apple TV, and there it is.
Yeah.
Are they getting bought by Apple? Is that a thing?
It's been a rumor for a while. There's also the rumor that, Verizon's going to buy
Disney.
Disney, or there's a Verizon Sony thing, or an Apple Sony thing, or Apple Disney thing.
Does anyone want to buy Microsoft?
Well, Microsoft just bought Bethesda Studios for
Oh,
$7.5 billion. So they're buying people. Somehow Microsoft has a bunch of cash that nobody knew about.
Show me how they have that cash.
I mean, it makes
Windows.
sense. They are still the #1 computing operating system in the world.
Right.
So they
But
still
it
built
sucks.
the Apple.
It's, we keep saying that. We say that every year.
Yeah.
And yet they still outsell everything else.
Well, it's because of on the enterprise level. They're
What's that
still so the stuff that powers
Commercial?
everything on the commercial side, it's all still mostly Windows.
Why?
It's the way it is. But out of the other Amazon devices that were announced, there were two very interesting Alexa products that were very curious. The first one is kind of goofy. It's a internal home security system that can fly.
Yes, a drone?
It's an indoor drone that can fly, and from what I've been reading, it records the video and you can see it later, which seems kind of silly. But supposedly, it's a flying drone.
So it's the first. It's legitimately the first. What's the right word here? The first mechanical pet
well,
for the average.
no,
For the
there's
average
been
person.
other ones before.
No, for the average person,
Maybe.
it's gonna like follow you around and like ask for food.
Isn't that what cats and dogs do?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's the first.
They-
First general use animated pet.
They have
mechanical pet.
They've made other devices.
No,
that-
for a regular person.
I mean, they've tried this before for regular people.
Who?
Like just people. There's the Ozobot or Osmobot, which was like this little RC car thing with a face that you would teach tricks to and unlock abilities and stuff.
Could it unlock the ability to give you money?
And then the other interesting Alexa-enabled device
The poncho.
was a security camera for your car that plugs into your lighter, your light adapter or whatever, cigarette lighter adapter. Now, why I find this product interesting is because it's consistently looking for motion. So if your car gets broken into, like someone punches a window or opens the door, it starts recording, sends it to your phone. Cool. The other thing that is interesting about it, and they highlighted it during their Amazon Look over all products, if you get pulled over, it starts recording and sending the information off-site. That I thought was very interesting, and the fact that they paused to bring up that example was quite fascinating. So
That is interesting. There's a lot of questions that are going to go around that. How soon will it be before the FBI and CIA buy it? And not tell anyone?
They've already had it.
I
mean, let's be honest.
Access to this new system?
They've already had access to this type of technology.
I mean, like right now, though. Do they have access to it?
Yeah,
probably, yeah. Have you heard of this thing called the
FBISA.
NCIS?
If you have to think about
NCIS?
if you have to think about the military, and like the police budget in the United States, right, far surpasses that of anything else.
Yes.
They have had access to all the commercial stuff we're getting years before we have. Like, where do you think?
That's not what I'm saying.
Where do you think these tech companies are
asking.
trying out this
That's not what
type
I'm
of
asking.
stuff?
What I'm asking is, they can have access to the servers where this video goes and make it disappear and stuff like that.
Probably.
Yeah.
Because think about it, right? Who are these tech companies trying out the betas with? It's probably they're getting the military contract. They're getting the police contract, and then they get access to that type of information.
Well, we'll see.
Real quick, there were also. Did we talk about the 2 casting news items that came out today? For Hawkman.
No, that broke just before.
Should we might as well mention.
Yeah,
it real
so the little new movie called Black Adam starring The Rock is coming out, and the full casting list, but partial of the casting list was revealed today, and they have confirmed that the DC character Hawkman is going to make an appearance in there, played none other than
I forget the actor's name. I thought you knew it.
not off the top of my head, no.
Hold on. It's Aldous Hodge.
Aldous Hodge.
One of the biggest movie, or one of the bigger things he was recently in was The Invisible Man, the movie that came out I think February.
Oh my God,
And
a lifetime
he
ago?
He was pretty good.
Yep.
The other bit of casting news comes from Disney. They just announced their live-action Tinkerbell, played by Yara Shahidi, who is in Blackish and the spin-off
grownish. Yeah. She is. She's an African American actress, and so I'm sure there's going to be some type of backlash from people, as we've seen before.
It's just the middle of the country. No one cares.
With like the Little Mermaid, being cast was also a black actress, and people were like, well, the Little Mermaid is white in the animated movie. So
That is so stupid.
Nice. Can't wait for those.
are you gonna see the Tinkerbell movie?
No.
You're gonna see Black Adam?
Black Adam?
Yeah, the
Probably.
Black Adam movie.
Yeah. I hope it's just like the trailer that they dropped, where it's like this
Animated
PowerPoint,
stills.
the PowerPoint presentation. They made that in PowerPoint, right?
Sure.
Because it looked like shit.
Did you like Shazam?
I did like Shazam, yes. It was fun. It was, it was a nice break from the rest of the DC. It's the one movie where having a a fun, light-hearted tone makes sense.
Yeah.
Whereas all the rest of them, it's so interesting, the evolution of the DCU. The first Superman movie, Man of Steel, was too dark.
Right.
And for me, that didn't work very well for Superman.
Right.
Then they went the other way. It made them too light.
No, that's not true, because it was Man of Steel, Batman v Superman.
I mean, that was just shit.
It was also super dark, though. Remember, like, gritty Batman who guns down.
But
people.
it was corny dark. It was like they were trying to be dark. And
No,
it
you
wasn't
gotta
that-
rewatch Batman v Superman. They went full like darkness. Like that was like the darkest movie. Like he was about to kill Superman. It was all about being dark.
What I mean by
and
corny is overacted. It was trying to be dark.
That's
like the
how-
same way that I'm gonna try and do Batman right now. I'm Batman. Like it's not. It wasn't real. I didn't. There was no. Trying to be dark and actually being dark is.
I mean,
two
but then you
different
could say the same thing about Man of Steel. Like it wasn't a convincing darkness either.
things. Yeah.
What
that was-
darkness? That movie
yeah.
was a comedy.
I mean, it was kind of boring. Like it was trying to be dark and it was boring and the color tone was all off for what Superman is. Like the movies they don't get the tone right. And Shazam to me was the first one where I'm like they came close I think to a tone that works.
I mean, the DC solo movies have been more like post Justice League have been more enjoyable than the team up movies, right? Wonder
Absolutely.
Woman was good. Aquaman is not a good movie, but it's like it's lovably
it's
bad.
close. It's closer.
You know?
Yeah.
Like it kind of leans into being bad.
Yeah.
It's
Um,
good
yeah.
to be bad.
And then Shazam is just kind of like a fun flick, like you said.
Yeah.
It doesn't take itself too seriously.
Right.
So
I mean, Superman makes a cameo at the end. That's hilarious.
Superman,
From the waist
everything
up,
but Henry
or
Cavill.
waist down. Yeah, exactly. It's hilarious.
And that's going to do it for us. Hilarious word of the day. Just kidding. Once again, you can find us on twitch.tv/wasitgood. You can find us on Twitter @wasitgood. And, of course, on Instagram @wasitgoodbtm. Podcast tapes live every Monday evening right here on twitch.tv. And then we do another twitch.tv/wasitgood. And then we do another episode during the week. Check us out on Twitter to figure out when that is. Goodbye.
Goodbye. We're done.
Clear?
I stopped the record.